Arkansas's current win total is set at 5.5. And while we've been doing these win total videos and talking about how the quarterback can impact the win total, I always like mentioning that we're still 6 or 7 months away from the season, right? So the win totals could change depending on new transfers, different things that happen in the offseason, right? But for right now, the win total is at 5.5. And so I want to take a few minutes to talk about what Taylen Green or whoever becomes the quarterback at Arkansas, how they can impact that win total. So for the sake of the video, let's assume it's going to be Taylen Green, right? I'm assuming there's going to be competition with Jacoby Brissett and maybe Singleton, the freshman that's in there right now. But they brought Taylen Green in for a reason. So let's assume that he's the guy. Let's assume that Taylen Green, and we've talked about him before in videos, we've done some breakdowns. And the biggest thing with Green is the consistency. Like, he's shown flashes. He's had flashes of really, really good games, really good plays, but now it's just putting them all together. So we won't necessarily recap his pros and cons or what he needs to work on, but he just needs to be consistent. And so if those flashes become consistent play and he turns the corner with the help of Petrino, then I think they have a shot at this win total. I really, really do. But it comes down to the quarterback and offensive position, because if it's anything like last year, then the under on this win total is way more likely to hit than the over. And they have a really tough schedule. We're going to go through the whole schedule and kind of break it down and kind of go game by game and just talk about how Green matches up against the current the quarterback he's playing and the defense, right? So, again, it's a tough schedule, and there's some toss-up games you have to win. It's going to be tough, but if Petrino and Green are clicking offensively, if they're hitting their stride, I don't think they're going to win 8 or 9 games, but I think they can definitely win more than 5.5. I definitely think they can win 6, maybe 7 if they're clicking. There's a lot of other stuff going on with the team that needs to improve and take the next step for them to kind of get back to that 8, 9, 10 win kind of tier. But for Green and Petrino, if they click and they mesh and they do really good, then the win total of the over is definitely in consideration. All right, so let's dive into the schedule. And before we hit the schedule, if this is your first time tuning in to the channel, thank you. Sincerely, this is just a big quarterback hub. We talk all things college football quarterback content, right? We have a podcast where we bring on current and former quarterbacks and talk their stories, and just a big college football kind of quarterback niche channel. And we've been doing these win totals and trying to make it kind of combine it with the impact of the quarterback position. So if the quarterback position is kind of your niche and you enjoy that type of stuff, then feel free to subscribe, or please consider subscribing. All right, so let's get to the schedule. They open up with the FCS team at home. Boom, win. Then week 2, right off the bat, is a must-win game, in my opinion, if you're going to hit this win total. It's Oklahoma State, and you're playing them away. Now, it's going to be Green's first big test. I know he's had some big games at Boise State, but it's a road test. It's not even SEC, it's Big 12, but that's a decent, like, week 2. Oklahoma State, the fans are going to be into it. They're coming off a year where they went to the Big 12 championship. They got a good running back returning. They got like a 7th-year quarterback in Alan Bowman. And so experience-wise, you're like, Bowman's got all the experience. You got Gundy. That's going to be a tough game, in my opinion. I think Oklahoma State probably going to be the favorite, but for Arkansas to hit this win total, you have to win that game. Then after that, you have UAB at home. Again, got to win that game. It's a decent group of 5 school, but no excuse to lose that game, right? Then you go to Auburn away. Toss-up game. Auburn's probably the favorite. Then you have A&M as your neutral at a neutral site. And this game is always funky and always kind of close, but A&M always seems to win this game for the most part. So you lean A&M just by history. And they got Connor Wigman. They got a new coach. So even with the new coach and a new staff, you still kind of lean them just based off the coaching situation that's happened and is currently going on at Arkansas, right? Then you have Tennessee at home. That's going to be a tough one. You lean Tennessee. I don't even know if that's coin flippy. Then you're off. Then you have LSU at home. If you could steal this LSU game, that'd be huge. Unless you keep up with the SEC, you may not realize LSU and Arkansas is always a funky close game. Yeah, usually LSU has pulled away these past few seasons, but it's always funky. It's always close. Even this past year when Arkansas was bad, it was a 3-point game. The year before, Arkansas had a backup quarterback in against LSU's starting quarterback, and LSU only won by 3 when LSU was kind of rolling, right? So that's a close game, but you still lean LSU even though it's at home. Then you got Mississippi State away, got to win that game. Ole Miss at home, that's going to be tough. You lean Ole Miss, then you're off again. Then you got Texas at home. You of course lean Texas right now, but people remember last time Texas went to Arkansas won. But this is 2 totally different teams now. La Tech at home, got to win. Then Mizzou away, right? So if they're all clicking, if they're meshing, here's how I kind of view Arkansas, as long as they don't have a slip-up game. As long as they beat that FCS UAPB, right? Arkansas Pine Bluff, you beat them. That's 1 win. You beat UAB at home. That's 2. You beat Mississippi State away. That's 3. You beat La Tech at home. That's 4. Those are kind of like the gimme games, in my opinion. No gimme game is on the schedule for Arkansas. I should rephrase that. In Mississippi State is still coin flippy, but I'm just, for the sake of the video, they have to beat Mississippi State to get to this win total, right? So that's 4 wins right there. And then you got to knock off someone else. And I think your top 2 choices to knock off are going to be Auburn away and Oklahoma State away. That's tough. But if you hit those games, that gets you to 6 wins. Mizzou away is going to be tough. Texas at home, Ole Miss at home is going to be tough. LSU at home, Tennessee at home is going to be tough. I almost think you have a better shot playing Auburn away and Oklahoma State away than those games, especially if the season's going downhill. That home field advantage that Arkansas has, by the time Texas comes, kind of won't be existent, right? So again, tough schedule, one of the toughest schedules in college football and of course in the SEC. And for this to happen, I think Taylen Green and Petrino are going to have to really mesh together. They're going to have to click really well together. And that is the pathway to potentially hit the win total, right? So just to kind of recap, like how I see the best situation happening is you beat the FCS at home, you beat Oklahoma State, you beat UAB, and you beat Auburn. You start out 4-0. And then you beat La Tech and Mississippi State. That gets you to 6. And if you can get like a slip-up game, like if LSU or Tennessee or Texas or one of those schools can slip up, man, that's huge. And you get to 7, that'd be huge, right? But a lot of things would have to be clicking on all cylinders. Again, this is all just assuming that Green and Petrino are clicking and Green is now being consistent. Like that Mississippi State team, they're trying to take the next step too. And they beat Arkansas last year. Was that the game that was like 7-0 or some like crazy low scoring game with like no offense? I mean, Mississippi State's looking at the schedule, and when they're making their predictions, they see Arkansas, they're like, okay, that's a game at home, that's a win. So no game is a toss up here. It's gonna be tough, but I think there's a pathway there, and it's kind of laid out the pathway, at least in our thoughts as it relates to how Green and Petrino mesh together. So Arkansas fans, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the win total? What's the pathway to get there? And then, what do you think about Green? And is there going to be a quarterback competition? I know I've talked to some Arkansas fans that really like Jacoby. I think it could be. But, again, I think if Green is consistent with those flashing type plays that he had at Boise State, I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. Those are my thoughts. Again, consider liking, subscribing, sharing this video if you like it. And, let us know your thoughts in the comments below about the win total. And we'll see you next time. Peace.